Seedance 2.0 is now taking over the entire AI filmmaking industry. Just take a look at this.
I see you. Hold it steady.
It took me less than 15 minutes to create it, and today I'm going to show you how to do the same. I'll walk you through all the essential steps inside while also sharing some private tips and tricks along the way. So, by the end of it, you'll know the entire strategy behind Seedance 2.0 and become a master at it. To get full access to Seedance 2.0, I'm going to be using the platform called Higgsfield. So, if you want to follow along with the tutorial, I'll leave a link to it in the description below. Alright, so once you're inside, go to the video section and press on Create Video. Here, you want to make sure you have Seedance 2.0 selected as the model. After that, you can simply paste in your prompt, adjust a few settings, and generate. So let me show you what the top 3 strengths of this model are. The first one is definitely the camera control along with its multi-shot feature. With this, you can take full control of how your scene is being shot at any moment. And you can do all that with just one prompt. For example, here's what I write to get a full 15-second scene where the camera redirects its attention every time a new subject enters the frame. But before I generate it, I'll adjust the settings. For Seedance 2.0, you can change the video duration, the ratio, and the resolution, so I'll go with 15 seconds, a 16:9 ratio, and 720p. Now let's press generate and see the results. Watch how the camera is always in a very smooth motion. It actually feels like the entire scene was shot from a drone. But what's even more impressive is that all the shots tie in with each other very naturally. So it seems like it was planned by a real film director. This means you have full control over the camera movements. But now, let's see how to use Seedance 2.0 to get real-world audio capabilities. For this, I'm going to create a scene with 3 people sitting in a desert on a sunny day, just talking. Here's the prompt. As you can see, all you need to do is add the dialogue right inside the prompt along with other sounds. But before you actually press generate, you want to make sure the audio function is turned on. After that, you'll get a result like this one.
We should have reached the oasis by now.
The map is old. Stay patient.
This is honestly something I've never seen before. The dialogue between these people sounds really natural and realistic. And you can actually hear where they are. The specific background sounds from this environment come through surprisingly clearly. But this is not all. With Seedance 2.0, you can also create UGC ads that look and feel extremely realistic. Just take a look. The product spreads across the skin just like in real life. And getting to this level of natural skin interaction has been nearly impossible with the previous models. So if you're running paid ads, this is a complete game changer. Now you can get these amazing results from just a simple text prompt, but they don't come even close to what Seedance 2.0 is actually capable of. If you want better video quality and more control over the output, let me show you what just a few reference images can do. And after that, we'll move on to the most important feature of this AI model. But if you haven't signed up to Higgsfield yet, click the link in the description so you can follow along and not miss any details. With Seedance 2.0, things are pretty clear. If you want to add a reference to an image, an audio file, and even a video, you click on Upload Media. This will open your folder so you can select whatever you want. The more references you give to it, the more consistent and qualitative your end result will look. And the software engineers behind Seedance 2.0 knew that very well. So that's why they let you attach up to 9 different elements for one single video. So, for this example, I'll upload 4 outfit images that I generated using the Nano Banana Pro model inside Higgsfield. Now before generating, you need to run an eligibility check on each reference. This happens because of the copyright from big Hollywood movies and actors. However, this setting can sometimes say your characters or images are not eligible. And it's not because of the Higgsfield platform, it all comes back to Seedance. But here are a few tips and tricks to pass this error anytime. If you're using the text-to-video method, go to any chatbot like Claude or ChatGPT and paste in your prompt. Then, paste in this. I wrote this prompt in Seedance 2.0, but it violates their content policy. Rephrase the concept in safer wording, and retry with the new version. It works almost every time. Now, if you're trying to take a certain camera movement from a video, but it says that the reference is not eligible, you can convert it to cartoon style first and use that version as your reference instead. These 2 workarounds are working most of the time, but if they're not, you don't need to worry about losing your credits because Higgsfield refunds you for every generation that failed. So now let's get back to our creation. Here's the prompt I'll use, and I'll set the duration to 10 seconds and generate. Look at how it holds the same face across all 4 shots. The image references significantly improve the consistency. But what's even more important than that are the details. Instead of writing a complex prompt that tries to get all the specific aspects you want, Seedance uses all the details from your image references. That's how you get full control over the output and get the specific looks you want. However, everything I've shown you so far has been testing one feature at a time. Now let me actually show you how to chain all of it into a complete cinematic sequence using the most powerful feature inside Seedance 2.0. So the first thing I did for this was create the script for my action scene inside Claude. I simply gave it my ideas and got back a full 3-shot breakdown. But now, for the visual assets, I'll use Cinema Studio 3.0 to build all my characters from scratch. And the reason for that is that it's 16 times cheaper than Nano Banana Pro, and also the quality is way more cinematic than what I can prompt myself in a regular image generator. By the way, by the time you're watching this, Higgsfield will have already released Cinema Studio 3.5. It's their latest filmmaking model with stronger scene understanding, improved physics, and higher cinematic quality. Everything here still applies. Cinema Studio 3.5 just pushes the results further. So once you're inside Cinema Studio 3.0, open the image section and select Build Your Cast. And this might already feel different from anything else you have seen on a normal AI. Here, instead of staring at a blank prompt field and trying to describe your character from scratch, you get a full step-by-step visual setup for your cast. And this is what turns you from a simple user into an advanced one that can turn any raw idea into a vivid image. So, for my main character, I'll start with the genre and pick action. This will tell the model the overall energy and style I want for it right away. Then I'll set the budget to 300 million, which actually influences how polished or raw the final results will feel. Now let's move to the era, where you choose the time period. Here, you can choose any time period you want, from the 1900s to the 2020s. But because I want to create a modern movie scene, I'll pick the 2020s. Next, we have the character archetype. With this, you can define both the personality and emotional state of your subjects. There are many options you can choose from: the hero, the rebel, and even the innocent. So, for my first character, I'll select the hero archetype. Once these behavior aspects are in place, we can move on to the physical aspect. The first option is the identity, where you can choose the gender, the race, and the age. So I'll set this for my character and switch to physical appearance, which is one of the most detailed sections. Here, you have the freedom to choose whatever you want for your subject. You decide if it's muscular or not, tall or not, and even the eye color. For these, I'll go with an athletic build, average height, and pick brown for the eye color. Once these are selected, I'll do the same for all the hair options. I'll go for short black hair. However, there are a few more things missing from my character, so let's go into details. Here you can add a facial scar, freckles, or a tattoo. But what I'll do is add a custom earpiece using the prompt box. Now I'll generate 8 different variations. Look at what comes back. The skin texture feels realistic, the tactical jacket looks exactly as described, and the earpiece is visible on the left ear. And this entire batch costs just 1 credit to generate, compared to Nano Banana Pro, which takes 2 credits for 1 single image. So testing multiple options before picking the best one is actually worth doing. I'll pick the strongest result, run an eligibility check, and save. Now I'll run the same process for my second character. So once both of them are saved, we can move on to the video creation. But before we actually do that, there's one significant step I wish people would stop skipping, because this is what decides whether your video stays fully consistent or it breaks at the 3rd scene. I'm talking about the elements you often use in your scenes. But this doesn't apply only to the characters. Let's say your action takes place in a house. You probably don't want the furniture to move around every scene. You instead want the entire environment to stay consistent. So that's why more and more advanced users add their location, vehicles, and any other important elements as references for the video. In this way, the AI knows exactly what to anchor to across every scene. So let's do the same and start with the location. I'll stay inside Cinema Studio, but I'll switch to the location mode. Here, you just describe the environment you need in simple words. For the sequence, I need city rooftops in bright daylight, so I'll write exactly that. Look at that. Our location already looks cinematic, even if our prompt was only 3 lines of text. That's why I like using Cinema Studio. I simply write what I want, and because their workflow was only trained on cinematic movies and characters, they always deliver top quality. And now that the location reference looks this strong on its own, the video generation has a much better foundation to build on. I'll check the eligibility for it and then save it. Now I'll switch to general mode to create the helicopter I want in my video. At this stage, you can create any important object you need for your scenes. It can be a vehicle, a gun, or anything else. So I'll describe the helicopter and generate it the same way. For my prompt, I'll paste in this. And just as I was expecting, it came out exactly like I described. And I really like that matte black finish on top of it. I'll run an eligibility check on this one too. So now that you've locked in your essential elements, you don't have to worry about inconsistencies anymore. Seedance 2.0 will take care of them. Now we can move on to the actual video generation. And this is where the important feature I mentioned earlier comes into play. So now let's go to the video section inside Higgs field. This is where we're going to be using Seedance 2.0 to its true potential. So make sure it's selected as the video model. Then you need to add your references, so click on Upload Media. This opens the same panel from earlier, where you can upload your images, videos, and audio files all at once. So for my first scene, I need to add both my characters and the location I've created previously. Every reference you want Seedance to use goes in here. Once that's done, I'll simply describe the action inside. This is the exact prompt I'll write. I'll make sure the audio is on and pick the ratio. I'll set it to 15 seconds and generate.
I'm taking fire. 2 blocks out, tell me you're ready.
It pulled in all the important details from my references, and the movement feels really smooth and natural from start to finish. This already looks like a real cinematic shot, but now let's create the second scene, because this is where Seedance 2.0 is going to differentiate itself from the general AI models. When you want to connect two AI-generated shots, the standard approach is to take a screenshot of the last frame and use it as a reference image for the next generation. And while that gives you a visual match on the surface, the model doesn't have the full context for the motion, the lighting, and the mood. So this usually gives you a generation that feels slightly off. But now, with Seedance 2.0, that problem is completely gone because it has what no other model ever had, and that's the video reference. So instead of just a screenshot, you can upload the full previous video scene as a reference. The model reads it and keeps not only the visual details, but also the whole video energy moving forward into the next scene. So for the second shot, I'll add all 4 assets to the panel and also drop the first video scene as a video reference. Then I'll use this for my prompt and hit generate.
I see you, hold it steady. Now!
Now look at this. If we play both segments back to back, you'll see that they both look the same when it comes to the mood and the essential details, like the characters. So you can repeat the same exact process to add as many new scenes as you want. But for this example, I'll create only one more using this prompt. For the settings, I'll leave everything the same, but I'll swap the previous video reference with scene number 2. The movements are natural, the characters are consistent, and the transitions are really smooth. And all of this takes you less than 15 minutes to build completely from scratch. But if you want to actually master Seedance 2.0, go sign up to Higgs Field using the link in the description and start creating your own videos. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.